Well, hello there and good day. Thank you for joining me. I am Frost PDP, and today we're talking about Crusader Kings 2 in our little tutorial series where we are covering technology today. Technology is the F5 key, so you hit F5, this comes up. You will hear that loud banging, which is supposed to resemble the sound of progress. I really wish I knew a way to turn that off, but I don't. So, last time we reviewed laws and why they were important and all that good stuff. Technology is, as you might imagine, kind of an important concept in any strategy game. To put it bluntly, technology is how you develop your country. The first thing you need to know is that counts do not actually really get technology. You don't really have access to this window as a count. As a duke, you do. Why is that? I don't know, but that's okay. The next and probably most important thing to know about technology is that it is the numbers you see here are reflected in your capital. So again, just to cover, this is our character's capital. It is the county of, I think that is supposed to be Thomond, but that's just how it's said in Irish, I guess. I don't know, Celtic, Gaelic, sure. Point is, you can see here on this little window, military advances 12, technology, economy advances 12, culture advances 12, and we'll tell you what they are. If you're ever unsure what a county has, you can just mouse over and see how close it is to being at that point 0. When you invest in technology, the technology point that you eventually invest in will be in your capital. It will not necessarily instantly be in your other land. Why does that sound like it's not consistent, you might be asking yourself? And the answer is because it's kind of not. Some things are instant. Some technologies, you buy them, and as long as your capital has that technology, you've got it, you're good to go. Others are based more on the county that you're looking at, especially economy stuff. So let me give you an example. Military organization is a favorite of many players, including myself. If you hover over it, well, let me take a step back. You can see here that there are 2 boxes filled in out of 2, 4, 6, 8. So basically there's 8 possible ranks and there are 2 filled in. Each rank gives you a certain bonus. So in this case, we're looking at military organization tech. It is part of the military column, and it is military organization. It's great stuff. It's important. Every level of military organization gives you plus 6.2% morale of armies, which is really important. It gives you plus 12.5% global supply limit, so you have less problems with stacking all your troops in one place. And it gives you plus 150% retinue. What's retinue? We'll cover that more with military, but that's basically your standing army. You can spend money to have a standing army. That's retinue. Now, with that in mind, the next level doubles that. The third level adds another 50% to it, right? So each level is going to be worth what the first level says. So every level of military organization tech you get 6.2% morale, etc., etc. These effects are generally speaking instantaneous. You click the button to upgrade your technology, you get these benefits. You get the increased retinue cap, you get the supply limit. Heck, when you get to military organization 4, it removes the pagan homeland attrition penalty, which is, needless to say, really important if you're invading pagans. They have a defensive modifier that makes it really hard for you to invade them. It's a challenge. You have to manage your troops a lot more carefully. You get military organization 4, you're good. Okay. How do you get these tech points? And by the way, as you can see, there's different categories of technology. There's light infantry, heavy infantry, cavalry, siege equipment, shipbuilding, and organization. What do they do? Well, light infantry gives you 7.5% to all the different light infantry you can have. So that's light infantry and archers. Heavy infantry is the same for pikemen and heavy infantry. Cavalry is the same for light cav, heavy cav, and any other kind of cavalry unit. Siege equipment improves your siege speed while improving your siege defense. It's just an arms race. If you've got more than the other guy, you're doing better. Shipbuilding unlocks a specific type of building called shipyards, and it improves the number of galleys each of them produces. Okay, so already you're noticing, wait a minute, it unlocks a building. That means you get this technology, you get to build it in all your counties, right? Well, wrong. Because the way it works is, when you unlock a technology, and this is especially true for any of these infrastructure ones, when you unlock, let's say, Castletown 3, you buy it in your home province. You would see this number go up to 13. It would tell you what you've got. And castle infrastructure, you'd be able to build the next thing, right? Sorry, you'd be able to build the next thing. Well, here's the thing. You can only build it in your capital. So in your capital, it will let you build it. And any of your subholdings in your capital, it will let you build it. But in your neighboring counties, you wouldn't have it yet. So if you're looking at any of my other campaigns and wondering why I'm sinking technology into buildings and only building them in my capital, that's why. You can only build it in your capital until the technology spreads. And technology spread is honestly a hard thing to quantify. There's basically a mathematical chance of technology spreading between adjacent counties that don't already have it. But they can spread in increments of 0.1. And yeah, those increments matter. If you had half of this box filled in cavalry, you would get half of the benefit. But some of them, like military organization, you don't necessarily get the whole benefit, especially when it comes to constructing things. But that's really into the weeds. Let's come back around to how do you get technology? Well, you have to learn it. And you learn it by accumulating points. This is sort of similar to Monarch points in Europa Universalis 4. But here you can see how at the start of a game you have 0 points. No military tech, no economic tech, no cultural tech. And as I hover over military tech, you see I get 0.52 points per month. And how is that determined? It takes your attributes, your learning plus your martial, and it gives you 0.04 tech points per attribute point. Then there are county modifiers and building modifiers, and additional modifiers if you're an emperor or a king. But since I'm not, you don't see those. That's okay. Point is, the higher your linked stat and your learning stat are, the more you're going to get as a base. Then there are county modifiers, which might be relevant. Then there's from buildings. So if you have buildings that generate tech points, if you control them, you get them. So hospitals are good ones. If you're a republic and you have universities, that's a good one. Stuff like that. That's how that builds. You generate technology points as time goes on. Whatever it is per month, 0.52, fine. Each of these three stats are going to be different because their linked stat is different. This is stewardship, for example. I have less stewardship, so I get less. When you're ready to buy them, this little button here will light up. As you can see right now, the cost for light infantry tech is 300 points. So, I'm going to break out my little friend, the calculator. Which is not showing up on this thing. There it is. There's our calculator. Right? Here's our calculator. Our calculator is an important tool. I'm probably going to accidentally close it again. Nope, didn't. Good. I have this habit of opening multiple windows. So, I am making 0.52 tech points per month right now. Now, there's things I can do to improve this, but let's assume I was to stay that way. And I wanted to get light infantry really bad, or I wanted to get the next one really bad. Military organization, whatever it is. I'm not sure you're looking at the right calculator window, game. Okay, good. So, if it costs 300 to unlock something, and I'm getting 0.52 per month, I can divide that by 0.52. It will take 576 months to get this technology. You divide that by 12, it will take 48 years to get that technology. Now there are obviously things I can do to improve that. Higher stats are important. A higher rank is important, being emperor, king, whatever. And having buildings like hospitals or universities that generate tech points will do this. I have been able to get, in a late stage campaign started at 769, around the year 1300, I can make 11 points per month. Of course, things get more expensive as you go further down the list, but that's just the way it is. Calculator's gone. I'm hovering over light infantry. It costs 300. I have 0. I can't buy it. And the base cost is 300, and there's this thing called a head penalty. Basically, once you buy a technology, you can't just buy another one for the same base price, because you wind up ahead of time. It's generally a concept that you're not supposed to get technologies before real life you can get it. So, if you have an ahead penalty, you pay an extra percentage of the cost to get it. So, if you add in a head penalty of 100%, this base 300 thing would cost 600 instead. So that's kind of a key concept. And again, buildings, stuff that give you buildings, castle infrastructure 3, for example, lets you build barracks 4 and training grounds 2, which are really important buildings, but here's the thing, I would only be able to do that in my capital. Finally, let's talk about this map mode here, relative spread, and God knows this map mode is not always very helpful, because there's always a little bit of a different map mode for each individual technology. That's right, the game tracks each technology. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18. And the game tracks that. And it's a heat map. So the more technology is present, the brighter the color. Dark places have low tech, bright places have high tech. So for example, light infantry. People here in the Byzantine Empire have it. People in it's not the Abbasids anymore, but here have it. Whereas people down here have less. And if you mouse over, it will tell you the advancements in that county. Which I know is a weird thing to conceptualize, because as you mouse over in the tech map mode, it shows you in the tech window what they've got. So I'm up here, advancements in your capital county of Tomand, boom. But as I move around the map, some areas might have more technology than others. Britannia is pretty much at a straight 2. But Spain is almost at 3, if not further in some things. I mean, Hispania, they've got stuff that's working on 4. And that brings me to like the last kind of really hard to explain concept, which I've mentioned before, is tech spread. These areas with high technology will be the ones that end up having to pay things like ahead of time costs, right? I want to go back to that. But technology does spread, which is a real life concept. Trade, transport, communication leads to cultural diffusion and technology spread. Okay, we all get that. But what does that mean for the game? Well, these counties that are bordering these lit up areas will slowly... I want to see if I can really show it to you. So here you go. You can see how with the tooltip it says current levels and spread chance, and there's a 0% spread chance per year. But some stuff is at 3.0, some stuff is at 2.9, right? There are probably better areas to show this off. Here it is. Here's one. In the county of Zagreb, there's a 0.4% chance per year that light infantry 1.9 will increase to 2.0. It's a very small chance, but there's a chance, right? So even counts who only have single counties can still kind of get tech, but they're depending on their neighbors to get it. Only Duke or higher characters can direct technology. Anyhow, I thought I would just handle that real quick. other technologies and what they do, because we really only talked about military. Castle infrastructure is what it sounds like. You get to build better stuff for your castles. Town infrastructure builds city holdings. Church infrastructure builds church holdings. They also increase the taxes you get out of them, which is always a good thing. Improved keeps allow basically 3 types of building. They allow fortifications, which make it harder for enemies to siege you down and eventually make it impossible for them to assault you, which can be kind of nice or a problem if you're dealing with it. And then there's keep, which is a building that directly modifies. I'm going to see if I have one. Oh, the buildings are always in here. You click on the holding that you want to look at, and you can see the buildings. But I have Castle Town too. I have a keep. Keeps are percentage modifiers to levy and garrison, so it's important that you have a strong keep because it will modify what you already have. The other one that it gives you is city walls, which generate a small amount of income and some troops. And you need that as a prerequisite for corresponding levels of Castle Town. Then there's trade practices. Better trade practices lead to more trade for republics. It raises the number of trade posts you're allowed to have, and you'll notice it starts at a negative number. You're negative 66 to start with, then negative 33.4, then just plus 0. It also unlocks the port building, which is like a way to generate money for coastal city holdings. But it also improves trade value. So this little thing up here says you have a trade limit of 3. First of all, you're feudal. You can't really own too many trade posts unless you're on the Silk Road. But if you were a republic, this would be the number of trade posts you're able to own. There are workarounds to that. I'm not saying how, because I don't even know how, because I don't really play republics, but there are ways to do it. Construction, well, it is what it sounds like. It improves the... It makes buildings cost less and build faster. It also gives you access to hospital buildings. And I'll show you where hospitals are real quick. Hospital is this thing here. I don't have enough money to even build one. Can I find a county with a hospital? Probably not. Sorry about that. Skype. But hospitals prevent you from getting disease or reduce the impact of disease, and they also have buildings inside of them that you can build that can generate research, piety, and tax spread. So they're really actually useful for tax spread. As far as culture advances, there's noble customs, which every level gives +3 feudal vassal opinion. This is something you almost always want to try to be ahead of time on. Popular customs gives you city vassal opinion. Religious customs gives you religious vassal opinion. Then there's majesty. You need majesty 5 for imperial administration. But other than that, majesty gives you better short reign years. So short reign is like how this vassal of mine, he has a -5 opinion of me for short reign. Every year that will go down by 1. However, if I had another level of majesty, that short reign penalty would only be 4. Right? I don't think every level of majesty gives you... Yeah, no, it does actually. Okay. No. Some don't give you. But most give you short reign years -1. And it also gives you monthly piety and prestige gains. Prestige is important, piety less so. But it's good to have them. Tolerance is what it sounds like. You have less of a negative impact on opinions for different cultures and different religions. So again, this guy, he dislikes me for being a foreigner. It means I have a different culture. He's Norwegian. I'm Irish. Guess what? He doesn't like me because I'm a foreigner. But if I had more tolerance tech, he would like me more, or he would not like me less. Finally, is legalism. This is pretty much just allowing you new crown laws, which we talked about last time. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm happy to answer questions. Otherwise, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. It really does help the channel grow. It lets me know what you're watching so I can make more of it. And I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And as always on this channel, La Paz.